self-defense. And originally, you know, it started gradually, and then everything is rising to this point. And everybody is wondering, okay, is it not going to come to that time, or has that time not come for every individual to have access to firearms, self-defense? But then we are not people in the position to actually look at that issue critically, but we have someone in the house who is a criminologist, someone who should know. I am glad to welcome Mr. Funsho Ogumefun to the set of New Dawn. Good morning, Mr. Ogumefun.
Good morning.
All right. Moses is also here. Moses, we're looking at ZAMFARA BENUE killings, self-defense as an option.
Okay, well, welcome to the program, Mr. Ogumefun, once again. Yes, let's start from the scratch. You know, insecurity, appears to be getting worse, and it's quite worrisome. How did we get here? How come the level of insecurity is not, abating, in our nation?
Well, to start with, I think we need to understand that insecurity is now a global phenomenon which has been hitting deep into a lot of people's life and destruction of property as well. I just want to let us go back to memory lane about what led to insecurity in 1945, when there was a bipolar demarcation between the capitalist West and the combination of European states, when they are trying to foster the idea of the communists by the USSR then. Then it was more of trying to bring about peace and move away USSR communist orientation by the United States of America and European states during that period. But at the end of the day, what that thing aggravated to is insecurity, because at that period, someone like Osama bin Laden was part of those people they trained to foster the idea of the communists until tomorrow now. Why is it Osama bin Laden going after American, causing high level of insecurity in that environment is one of those things that still linger in my mind. Coming back to Nigeria as well, the concept of this Boko Haram, when it started, it was a philosophy that everybody thought, just to build someone the same way Yoruba has their own people, for security purpose, Igbos has their own for security purpose, and all of a sudden it just turned out to be another thing. And today now, we are all suffering from it. And you can imagine, we said insecurity. The level of insecurity has gotten to a state that even a common man of the street cannot even sleep with their two eyes closed. Because if you look at it, business of kidnapping for ransom, it's something, initially we used to see it, for community cleansing or for some other thing, but right now, it has gone to a stage where people are really worried about what they are really facing in this world. So I think it's something germane, and we need to discuss extensively about it.
But it's self-defense, an option we had from the ZAMFARA state government.
But Moses, before we get to that self-defense, let's look at the peculiarity of our own environment, and that's the fact that originally we started, it was farmers and herders clashes. We moved away from farmers and herders clashes, then we got to banditry. From banditry, it's now kidnapping, and kidnapping is becoming so rampant now that you begin to wonder, even within your household, people can just go ahead to, kidnap you and then ask for ransom. So, I mean, how did we let this thing slide?
Okay, let me let us understand, because sometimes when we are talking from theoretical juxtaposition, people always say, those theories are Western. Sometimes it's not applicable to what is applicable to what is happening in Nigeria. Let's take, for example, Kelly's and Wilson broken windows theory that says that when a particular hose was discovered and is not repaired on time, it will get to a state that it will be generated to other social problems that will give us problems. Now, when this concept of Boko Haram started in Nigeria, people were not really giving attention to it because it was more of a fractional issue. It was centralized in the northern part of Nigeria. But now everything is now, because look at it from this concept. We discover, this is Boko Haram issues. It's not really affecting the east, it's not affecting the south, so it's not our business. But right now, what we are saying now, farmers' elders conflicts is as a result of what we cannot stop when we discover this. Look at what's going on, banditry right now is as a result of what we cannot stop, because at that period, when we saw that lapses that we were meant to repair on time, we did not repair it because we were looking for, and there can be a change, and look at what we are facing now. It has turned to a personal business that people are even see, they don't even see human factors in this thing we are talking about. They don't even see that, I'm disturbing my fellow Nigerians. The next thing they do is, how can we just make money from this person? And at the point of doing this, if the person did not yield to that concept, the next thing is killing. Then where are we going to? If killing is what we're going to make because we cannot really get money from people. And in fact, why are we not even making life so difficult for some people? When we are all Nigerians, we are all facing this hardness in the country. So what must you now think about? The next thing I have to start thinking about is to arrest someone because I want to make money for it. So it has turned to business of making money.
Now, does it mean that our security forces, cannot, you are a criminologist, you know the terrain. Is it that what actually is wrong? Is it that our intelligence gathering is poor? Is it that we don't have adequate number of forces? Is it that there are loopholes within the structure, or that there are moles that are, what in your own perspective, is decapacitating the ability of the security forces to nip this? Yeah, you said it was a small hole. Now suddenly the hole has become, is it that we can't get a way out of it?
If I want to say, I want to try and erase preconceived notion that people have had about Nigerian security, because I so much strongly believe in them, because I've seen some of I've gone through my comparative study, I've seen what most of their contribution, especially out of this country, the peacekeeping force people, they've tried in the past. But when they come back home, I see the way they just, take them as if they are just ordinary chicken. These are people that were celebrated in the world for what they've been doing, their contribution in Africa. But because of the fact that there are some things people don't really understand about this thing, intelligent gathering and sharing is a very strong thing we have to understand in this country. You are trying to fight against some side of people and you are revealing secrets. And then what do they now call classified information? Okay. And if you look at it from this point as well, what is the average security of a man that is meant to be maintained by a police force in the country? Okay. If you look at the gap, it's so wide. As far back as 2008, the ratio of a policeman and those is meant to protect, it was ratio 1 to 500. But right now I can give it to you, it is ratio 1 to 1,250. How do you expect a man to secure close to about 1,250 people? So what we need in this part is that we need to train and retrain. And I wonder why people used to see this security personnel as if they are not effective. But we're forgetting that there is a whole lot of things we need to look at. Number one, people are seeing it from immediate causes of their issue. They are not looking at it from the remote cause. If you're looking at it from the immediate cause, we'll still start having the same problem, having wrong perception about Nigerian police or any security forces. Look at what's going on with them. Okay. I still remember I have a very close neighbor of mine, who is a retired policeman. When I got talking with this man, what I heard him saying was not really encouraging. He said, after putting 35 years of service in police, at the end of the day, what he's getting in return is just 25,000 naira. I was like, how are you going to maintain your life with 25,000 naira when we are facing this kind of hard time? We have family, you have wife to maintain, and all those things. Even go to most of the barracks of the police. Go to all these security people. They are normal human beings like us. We're just seeing them because we see them as security force, and we overloaded them with work. Security work is not just for the former policing. It's for everyone, because when this thing affects everyone, when this thing is happening, it's not just the police that is going to be affected. Every person in the country needs to be on the standby and watch what they are going to do concerning the security of life and property of the people in this country.
Okay, Mr. Ogumefo, now how overwhelming is the space of insecurity for the Nigerian police force and the Nigerian army? Okay.
I want to say this because I'm very close to some of these security personnel, and I've sampled their opinion, and I know they are ready and they are willing to work. But there's what they call political interference in security. And when this thing continues to occur, we can't achieve anything. We can't move ahead. Because we are talking about trying to secure the country from either internal or external attack. And before you know it, the information they had, which is meant to be classified, is being revealed. Before they get to the place, they won't be able to work. And the endpoint we got is that, oh, Nigerian army went to social place, and about 50 of them, or 50,000 of them, they are normal human beings like us. They have children at home. They have wife at home. So how would they be able to understand or get rid of what they're meant to do when information that is meant to be classified is revealed?
Now, who reveals that information? And then secondly, can we really say, is it that government doesn't know what to do? You know, or if we want to look at, okay, so a thief is coming to my house. He came yesterday. He came day before yesterday. He came yesterday. He's still planning to come tomorrow. And, you know, it doesn't look like I am taking any serious. Is this government that incapacitated? Is it that, okay, if we say we need, they are understaffed, can government employ? If we say they are not the kind of, because when you listen to some of these officers or when you interview them, they will say, if you see what those guys are bringing, is it that government doesn't have money to invest in ammunition and counter these forces? Why is it so prevalent?
Well, naturally this country, sometimes when you talk, they will tell you there is what do you call it? Hate speech. Okay. I want to say that every Nigerian who are in position of authority understand power behind social contracts. They know that definitely the military or the forces or security apparatus are meant to be under them. And they know that, in fact, if you're going to fight your enemy, if you are negotiating, definitely, I don't think you will find a way out. The best thing is marxist orientation. Revolution, you fight to the fullness, because when you're eating, according to the Machiavelli theory of praise, he felt that, if you are fighting people because you want to make a way for your family, and you are fighting, you are returning, you don't fight to kill every one of them, definitely you are still bringing ground for another set of people to come up and fight with you.
So you think government should be all out?
Should be all out, one. People should be all out, because it's this. When I say security is not just for one person, I understand and I know what I'm saying precisely. Because there was a time I read in the news that the sets of vigilante too are ready to fight. Okay. Local hunters are ready to fight. Then why don't we incorporate this set of people as support? Because we are talking about in the intelligent gathering. Yeah. This set of people sometimes might get or give us adequate information that they are going to use to make their attack more stronger. So these are things I'm expecting from the government. Okay,
now to the mainstream of our discussion, self-defense. We heard from the ZAMFARA state government saying self-defense remains the best option to address the issue of insecurity in this state. And on Monday, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabor, faulted that directive. So it seems confusing. Has it reached that point of self-defense?
That is the future of a failing state. When you see top set of people that are meant to even have a closed-door discussion before they come on air, because naturally I used to perceive security discussion as something sensitive that people are not just to come up and say on the air, because that number of people are listening to what we are saying. When one authority will say, oh, it's time for us, you should have looked into why they said it is time for them. Because it's possible such state is suffering from mass attack of this set of people we're talking about. And they said it is when you are not part of these people that are feeling the pains, you will not know the level or the gravity of what they are feeling. Then what I'm even expecting the person in charge is to say, oh, you said this, okay, let's call for a dialogue. Internal one that's not going to be, because the man have said it on air, that right now I felt the former security personnel are not doing the job I'm expecting them to do. Right now, I felt, in my own state, I believe it is self-defense. Okay. If you go back to the pre-colonial period, before the coming of the whites, self-defense is one of those things we are dictated for. Because number one, as a target admin, if you, I don't know if you have been going home in the traditional setting or something like that. Even at this point, if you go to some rural area, you see the way they build their house. When they build a building, they erect a door. At the back of the door, there will be an iron slide just to make that place more tightened for people to be able to access their area. That's what they call access control at that period. Just like we don't even have a documentation to write those things down. But our forefathers planned toward that time because they felt, oh, if it happened that somebody is coming to my house, want to break my house, is it going to just have access just like that? So that was why they have such plan. And if at the end of the day we perceive, or a particular state said, oh, I perceive that, oh, the way these people are attacking my people, and we are over relying on the security, formal security apparatus, and we're not getting results. Then let us now issue the concept of self-defense. What do you understand by self-defense? Because self-defense is just you trying to say, oh, before people kill me, let me be prepared.
Okay.
So that if this thing is coming, it won't meet me as if I'm just a low ranger.
Okay.
So I'm doing this. If the man also, oh, self-defense in terms of using gun, then this is another thing, because any gun you're going to use must be registered. So if there's any other problem concerning that, we'll be able to know where to trace it back to. So we don't have to come on air and start fighting ourselves because of what we are meant to take serious. Because I think that kind of information is meant to be a classified one too.
Okay, now it's out. Is that a viable option? You know, I mean, the ZAMFARA state government talked about, you know, licensing guns, you know, for individuals, you know, that are ready.
Well, to me, I used to say that, but I've been saying it. I said there are two things that I think Nigeria is not ripe enough to start having: state police and the issue of using gun. Because if you look at it, the way Nigerians politicians are using politics and using their power to influence the security force, sometimes I used to wonder. So sometimes I said, if you want to create a state security apparatus for yourself, there are some other conditions you must meet so that you be able to have formidable creation of state police. And if you want to start having licensed gun, in fact, if you see the proliferation of illegal guns in this part, you'll be wondering, almost every part. In fact, even if you fail to license gun, look at what we've been seeing all over Nigeria.
Yeah, but some people are of the opinion that, see, if a thief knows that where he is going, or if a kidnapper knows that, okay, if they want to get inside this bus and ransack this bus, these guys also could be harmed. It's going to stop a lot of
reduce the attack. Yes.
But because they know that, okay, once we bump in on these people, it's harmless. But the question now is, even America that has, you know, such policy,
so they're still regretting.
Yeah, so how do we now balance it? Is it a viable option for us as a nation?
That's or is it
and then is it not an indictment on our own security? Is it because somebody said the first essence of government is to provide security
to lives and property,
you know? So
and maintain law and order.
And so when a government cannot do that, is it not an indictment, you know? And then eventually, okay, we now say, okay, let's now use it. Can we survive it? Because if anybody annoys anyone now, and I have gone, the way we get annoyed here.
I want to say this because self-defense is not just on the part of gun alone.
Okay.
There is a whole lot of way we can do our self-defense. And there's a whole lot of way we can plan to tighten up our security. The other time I explained the concept of decoy and blending. I talked about stakeout and I talked about sting tactics. There are many, many tactics you can use to bring about perfect security in our community. Okay. One of it is just trying to inculcate the youth into security, because I still remember when I was fully staying in Lagos, there's a particular time they wrote to my local government that said thieves are coming to bombard our area. And then I was just a younger person then, no job. I was waiting for JAMB that period. What we did in our area was just to gather all the youths that, okay, we'll have a roster. That if this set of people is coming, what are we going to do? The first thing we ask our landlords, okay, what are we going to do? Let's have a giant gate. Okay. So if you have this giant gate, let's even assume they jump in before they go out. It will be very difficult. If they want to carry any property, can they just move car like that? These are things we put in place just to make the target more harder for people to be able to access. Because if you don't follow all these things, I'm putting it to you that sometimes all the security personnel that we're talking about, if you look at the rate at which they are working, and look at the number of people that are meant to work, and look at the technology application or all this equipment that are meant to use, most of them are outdated compared to those that we want to fight with. Look at what happened in Moe. Just, what they call it, a driver just mistakenly hit a cow, and the cow died. The next thing is just to kill the man. When are we going to see ourselves as one Nigerians?
But the point is, is it that government cannot do? Okay, we know we are fighting this deadly. Okay, let's even take the insurgents. We know they are deadly. You know, their firearms, the firepower is superior. Is it not possible for us to secure? Is it not possible for us to also secure our own? I mean, what I mean is, can't we beef up our own artillery? Must we always be at the mercy, of the bandits? Must we always be at the mercy of, I mean, look at US, for example. Maybe they didn't get there one day, but you find out that you can't just bump in on US. You can't just bump in, and then even with all the attacks, look at Israel. I mean, is it that we don't have the capacity, or can we not buy with all the money we had that the CJN is taking 2.something billion, this one is taking 2.something billion, the accountant general stole 80 billion, the one who has energy, some people said it's 170 billion, and you are asking yourself, okay, with all this money, can't government buy? Can't government secure itself? Or is it so difficult? Or are there laws that are restricting government?
Well, I want to say this because I think the problem is within the concept or the ideology of the elite in this country. Because if naturally you are elected and you know the purpose of you being elected to serve, because Stewart said something about leadership. Said leadership is all about stewardship and servantship. Okay. Once you are elected into a position, you are to serve people. But the moment you got it wrong, that, you are going there because of your own vested interests, at the detriment of the interests of the people that elected you, then there will be a problem. Not as if we don't have money, but in Africa, I think our problem is human problem, where in the developed country is more of natural disasters problem. So we cannot compare American concept of problem when it comes to security with that of Nigeria, because they are all out. In fact, if you look at it, before they even they do anything, they sample public opinion to know whether to do this or not to do it. Unless if you want to be a dictator, then you now say, okay, you want to override the public opinion so that you want to go ahead like what Bush did the other time. When United Nations said you should not embark on Afghanistan war. And they finally said, no turning back, we need to go. Because those ones understand the reason why they need to fight insurgents. Do we even know the reason why we need to fight these people? Because they are not affected.
Okay.
It's the common man that is being affected. That's why I said sometimes law is made in this country by some certain set of people, and that law is not going to take them because they are above the law.
Okay, Mr. Ogumefun, this development has brought to the fore state policing. Now, there are talks that it's high time we institutionalized, state policing in Nigeria. But you're saying it's not the way to go. Because if you look at our security architecture, it's decentralized.
Yes.
It's not high time we decentralized our security apparatus.
This is what is obtainable in most of the developed country. When you go to the United States of America, you see that in a particular state there is a security which is controlled by the state. But look at the way we practice ethnic politics. Look at the way we do our things. I don't think Nigeria is ripe enough to do all these things. I would have said, if we have transparent and accountable mode of operation or leadership skill, then I would have said it's good enough for us to do. Because, take for example, Lagos State now, they have some informal security apparatus that are doing the work and they're doing it perfectly. Same thing in Ogun State here. I'm talking about last man in Lagos and Trace and Abeokuta. They're really doing this. A set of people that can literally train and maintain in that regard to be able to structure them into state police. But if you look at it, one governor can just stand up a day and say, okay, this is what he wants. And before you know it, everything will change.
But
even we are copying United States. We tend to copy United States in everything. They have. And
They have. But look at the level of their transparency and accountability in what they are doing.
but some will say, okay, even the federal that is doing it
is not doing
also
it.
political.
Yeah.
Because if you remember, one of the reasons why states began to have their own private stations, television stations, in the early 70s and all that, was that, when the national television was controlled by a particular government, it blocks out every other opposition from. So the states now felt, okay, we can also have our own television station. We can also have our own radio station.
And as it were, we talk about federal might. So which tends to be political.
Yes.
So if you know what we're saying is, if you say, okay, each state would flex his muscle, is the federal not also using that same power?
Well, that's what I'm saying. When I say states, I'm not really relying on those states. I'm talking about the kind of mode of our operation when it comes to political administration.
Okay.
Now, the same thing we're talking about is what I'm talking about in states.
Okay.
Look at it from federal. The federal that is controlling the police that are meant to structure the necessary things, puts the necessary welfare in place so that they'll be able to do their work perfectly, and we'll be able to know government have done this to you, and at the end of the day you're not doing this, then we can now apportion blame on them.
Okay.
But they, in their own regard too, because naturally I have a lot of them I'm training right now, and if you see the kind of complaint they give, sometimes I used to look at myself, as a security personnel, if you're facing this, then how do you want to be effective in the job you're doing? Some of them said they are due for promotion since about how many months ago, years ago, and right now they're still in this place. If you're not motivated, if you're not encouraged, how do you want to get committed to the job process you're doing?
Well, Mr. Ogumefun, let me take you back a bit, still on state police, because it seems we dwell so much on the disadvantages. Oh, it could be hijacked and all that. But what about the advantages of state police? Don't you think the advantages, outweigh the disadvantages?
Okay, let me say this. Why I'm saying this is because I'm in strong support of creation of state police. But my major concern is it not going to be hijacked? Is it not going to be a repetition of what we saw in the federal at the state? So we're running from one particular problem to another problem. We should be mindful of what we are going to do, or what we're going to do when it comes to the idea of state policing. The first thing is for us to even have a change of mind as human.
Okay.
Because if those things are not there, the creation of police too will be hijacked, the same way it's hijacking the federal.
But some will feel that, okay, if a state, the major responsibility of a state is to take care of its own citizens. So, for example, the crisis we had in Owo, it should have been taken over now, by the state. It could have been. So, even if there are excesses, some feel that, okay, at least the bulk of the responsibility of securing that state will still be on that state.
Because we call state governors chief security officers of their states. But we've seen now that, they seem to be powerless when it comes to some levels of insecurity.
Yes. Yeah, the reason is this, because naturally anything that has to do with policing is under federal concern. And what the state are agitating for is good. Not as if it's bad. Someone like me, I can't come on air and condemn the creation of state police because I know it's going to work effectively. But my major problem or my major concern is the aspect of hijacking, because that's how Nigeria used to behave. Okay. Not as if most of the policy we are adopting is not good. I've been saying this for several times without number. Almost everything we adopted from all these foreign countries are good. But our problem is implementation problem.
Okay.
Now we are saying we are running away from this and we are getting this. What if at the end of the day, state that is even owning civil servants, you want to now create another state again, another police again, that is going to be still under civil servants, that they are still going to own. We should be mindful of most of these things we are saying, because number one, I'm saying it from the point of view of how many states is viable to even pay civil servants.
Okay.
Because there's a whole lot of developmental projects that most of them are putting their hands. You can't just be paying. They need to think about infrastructure development, road construction, building of houses, all those things. We've got money. Because everybody wants to leave a particular administration with a pure legacy.
But that's why some are also feeling that there's too much power at the center. That it should be decentralized in such a way that the regions could also retain, because a lot of funding goes to the
That means
federal.
we're talking back about confederation. Yeah, we are talking about regional system.
Yeah.
People have been clamoring for regional system, and the reason why we are saying this was because the so-called vision leader in those days were ready to work for their people. They're ready to serve their people. Sometimes I used to think about it. When I remember people like late Obafemi Awolowo, sometimes I used to say, oh, these are people that God has created. They have the vision, they have the mission, and they complete their vision. Okay. You can imagine excess money they made from cocoa in the West in those days. Where did they put it? They try in education because he's a philosopher that believes so much in educating his people. If it's all these types of leaders we are having now, where do you think they will put the money? Where would they put the money?
But some people said, for example, look at what just happened at the primaries now. Peter Obi, Atiku Abubakar, and Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Some feel that, okay, let Bola Ahmed Tinubu head the southwest, let Peter Obi head southeast, and and then let Atiku Abubakar head the north. And then let us see what they are going to do.
Do you think the elites will allow that? They will know. Because what they are clamoring for is to alter the ego and the business at the top.
Yeah.
And if you look at it, they said every human being, according to Rational Choice Theory by James Comer, said every human being is a rational who do his aim. It simply means we calculate the relationship between the cost of an action and the benefit we're going to take from it. Okay. So if you are not saying you want to block where they are getting their own means of livelihood, do you think they are going to return back to the region?
I mean, with the fear of secessionists,
that's another thing.
If the region is so buoyant,
they decide to go. And not only if we want to go about region, we have to think about it very well. Because I think it's just like trying to give advantage to those that have been saying they want to go. And that means we don't talk about Nigeria anymore.
But it's parliamentary. If it's a parliamentary system, we tried that in the first republic.
Yes.
And where each region
was contributing his own quota. As at that time, I think, I said it, our leaders then were like, they were interested in human development.
Okay.
I can't really replicate what they've done in that regards to what we're facing now. Because if you look at it, population is now getting higher compared to what they used to have in those days.
Okay.
In that period, the little money they have can really go around people. Okay. And they really move ahead with that same little things they have in their pocket. But now, if you look at the kind of politics we're practicing, it's not like that of before again. Okay. Because I've been saying it, most of these senators, instead of making them a full-time worker, let us go back to the memory lane. A large number of them are having good businesses. Yeah. Let them be part-time workers. Because this concept of sitting allowance, wardrobe allowance, all those allowance, they can use that money to do another development. We are talking about people that can never go poor in life again.
Right.
Think about people that are poor.
Let's take his last words on self-defense and Moses.
Especially now that, yes, the directive has been given, though the Nigerian Army has faulted that. I mean, what do you foresee? There seems to be this back and forth over that. Governor does not control the commissioner, as it were. That comes from the federal. So some are saying the commissioner for police in ZAMFARA state does not even have the power to issue gun licenses to individuals.
We said police is a federal concern, and you cannot put something under federal concern that have not been decentralized to a state, and you expect the state to say, yes, we want our people to be using gun for self-defense. It is not done anywhere. It's not done anywhere. What we need to do is just for us to understand that, this is what's on ground. Then look at how can we tighten up things. Because if you continue this, if you continue doing this, headline newspaper will start selling, this is what is on the stake, this is what is on the stake.
Okay, we want to quickly take a break. We'll still come back to you very shortly. You are watching New Dawn, the Wednesday edition. We'll take a quick break now. We'll be right back. We're looking at self-defense as an option in ending the menace of banditry and kidnapping and all the other terror that's currently, getting to us as a nation. We'll be right back after this time out. You're watching New Dawn. Stay with us.
Fellow Nigerians, do you know that constituency projects are actually your projects? Do you know that constituency projects are funded by the federal government? Do you know that you can track release of constituency project funds for projects located in your constituency and follow up to know how they have been executed? Constituency projects happen because government does not want to leave any community out in development efforts. You have a responsibility to know what constituency project has been planned for your community, how much has been allocated for it, and whether value for money has been delivered. Take ownership of constituency projects located in your community. Protect them because they belong to you. Government knows about your needs and is planning for you. Government needs your help to ensure quality delivery. Know that constituency projects are actually your projects. Protect your constituency project. My constituency, my project.
For information on funds allocated to projects in your constituency, call 0800 2255 4272.
This message is from the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission and the National Orientation Agency.
All right, we would like to welcome you back. You are watching New Dawn, the Wednesday edition, and we're looking at BENUE, ZAMFARA, and BENUE killings. We're looking at the self-defense as an option in ending menace. It's something that we still have to deal with. Kidnapping is still on the rise. Terrorism still goes on unabated. And of course, banditry is also part. But maybe we don't have too many bandits in the southwest, in the south here, but in the north. And now we have a criminologist still in the house, Mr. Funsho Ogumefun. Now, Mr. Ogumefun, just before we went on that break, we were looking at self-defense. We were trying to, but then now let's come to the fact that, okay, is there an end in sight? Do you foresee a situation where Nigeria could get back to that period in our existence where that I'm talking about the pre-Boko Haram period, pre-terror period, pre-kidnapping? Can we still get back to that period when everything was a little saner?
Well, I believe that there's nothing in life. Everything in life is possible when you have God and when you have government machinery that are ready to work. Okay. I believe in the history of Nigeria, there was a time we don't have anything that has to do with terrorist attack or having this cause to go to the extent of kidnapping ourselves because we want to make money. Yeah. I think we can still go back to it. Okay. And one major thing that can make us achieve this is when myself, you, and everybody in the country are ready to fight this cause. Because we've over-labored the security apparatus, that so far they've signed that they have to protect state, and we all need to be part of this thing because these people we're talking about are normal human beings. They stay on this earth. They don't as if they are jumping from heaven before they make this attack. Definitely some people know where they stay. Then if they want us to end this thing, they should be able to give information. A lot of people, professors, have given ideology or recommendation. Even down from my HOD in my department came on air to give recommendation. And he even said openly that he has gone to different places to give them a copy of that thing, that this is a way out of this problem. But yet, they acted as if they don't even see anything, and until now, that same problem continues.
Now, well, I was going to come to that, well, we are from the ivory tower, and there seems to be, we talk about the gap between the town and the gown, unlike developed countries where when there are issues, they go to the tertiary institutions. They are professors, of course. You're a criminologist, and you're saying you have several discoveries, studies, recommendations that do not get to them, but you also, in a way, take these recommendations to them.
Okay, let me say this, because naturally, if you look at the concept of development itself, it's tied with research and education. No country will develop without doing research. Whole lot of research is done in the citadel of learning, but what is the government getting out of it? One, they will even not even look into it. Because if you want development, there's a whole lot of things that have been written about Boko Haram. Like I still remember 2017 when I went to Lapai, Niger State University, to deliver a particular journal which is titled "The Business of Kidnapping for Ransom in Nigeria: Current Literature and Interrogation." I can bet my life there's a whole lot of recommendation in that work. But till now, who is looking into that regard? A lot of people have done more than enough research on how to end this problem. But the government is not ready to look into that direction. Even the state security apparatus that are meant to even work with researchers are not doing that. So how are we going to end the problem? And it's always going to be very difficult for you to say you are going to the defense house to go and meet them without them giving you an appointment to come. Even if you are the emeritus professor of this world, once you are not given an appointment to come, you cannot go in there.
So are you saying the solution can be found in the ivory tower?
Yeah, it can. More than enough. There was a time I went somewhere and I gave them about, even the police can even testify to this. There was a time I told them about some things, how to go about. They said, I said, this is not new. It's what you're doing. But because in academic environments, this is what we do. But in practice, this is what you do.
But some people also look at the academics. They say that they are textbook. That a lot of you...
Life itself is all about textbook. Because all these things we are talking about today now, all what is recorded is a behavior. They call it version, understanding people's behavior, people's actions. There's nothing you see in textbook that is not research. It is people's opinion, especially most of the descriptive or experimental design work. It is human. It is a society study.
Because
it is economic studies.
Your recommendations are not pragmatic. You're talking about theories, from one theory to the other, linking theories.
No,
they are not practical.
I think people are getting it wrong.
No, so
the practical part of every linkage between theory and method is going to come out in recommendation. And
some of these theories are even obsolete.
When you say theories are obsolete, this is exactly what really happened to me when I was in Tanzania. I'm a member of Social Science Research Council in Africa. So I was selected as one of the members. So we went on discussion in the workshop, and one of the professors said, no, most of this we were using is outdated. But I said, sir, I stand to challenge that, sir. And he said, why? I said, because let me use my own Nigeria as an example. Structural functionalism by Taco Paulson says the only way to get solution to a problem is for every institution within the state to work hand in hand for the functional development of the entire state. And what are those institutions? The family, the economy, the religion, the politics, the health. All those things are meant to work. If they work hand in hand, there will be a solution to this problem. Governments should enact public-oriented laws in the area of education, in the area of health, in the area of all those things are in place. Everybody will think less of going to crime. That's one. Number two, let's look at it from Anomy, Strain Theory by Robert King-Boughton. It says when government fails to distribute the resources of the society equally to its member, people will degenerate series of forms to satisfy their own means. And one of them is conformist. He said it will lead to a set of people generating, coming up. He said, despite that Nigeria is really bad, we still have some people that will never steal.
Okay.
Those are the conformists.
Okay.
We have innovators. Those that will look for shortcuts to success in life.
Okay.
Going to maybe prostitution to make money, going to cybercrime to make money. Instead, we have some, they are ritualists. That they are not so much concerned about the money, but they will tell you hard work is a major way to make success. We have the retreatists. The retreatists are all these psychopathic patients, all these aged people, all these children that cannot really run after how to make money. The last one is the rebel. Those are the people that will terrorize the country. Is it not working? Look at Rational Choice Theory by James Coleman. He says that before a human being do anything, they calculate between cost and benefit, the reward they are going to make from an action. Look at what's going on now. The pit bargaining in the concept of Nigeria, when you embezzle, well, maybe 2.something billion naira or dollar in Nigeria, then you come back and drop 10%. So it has given opportunity for them to go in there and steal because they know they have the money there to go. So we are saying these things are working. They are practical things.
Okay. I've also tried to localize some of these theories. Well said, basically. About times, some of this research, or studies, are built on foreign theories. Many of them. Do you also have local theories?
Yeah, there are
because
local theories coming up. There are local theories
coming up.
We have them because I know of one, Abeokuta, that talked about a particular theory that I just read because it's a new one in 2018. We have African people that are coming up with different theories.
Okay, we will take on, we'll take on your last words. But when you're talking about theory, I remember when I was in school, we had all these boys' law, avocados law, temperature is constant, the volume of a given mass of gas is equal. What is instant? Well, I'm not a chemist, so I wouldn't know that. So let's take on your final words. Self-defense. Is it a solution?
Well, it's a fractional part of solution, but the self-defense I'm agitating for is not going to be based on the use of gun.
Okay.
There is a whole lot of techniques we can use. Number one, I said it. They should decoy. Decoy is a tactics they can use and blend in. Most of these places, although these are things I'm not even meant to even say on air, because they are classified information. They are classified information. It's something we can as well see, maybe security personnel say, oh, this is what we're expecting. Let's use this kind of tactics to be able to, because this is the mistake we made in the past. And when you say it on air, it will go viral. Okay. And people will, oh, these are one of the techniques they can use. They work on that.
So there are many things that could still be done.
Yeah, it could be done.
All right, we want to thank you very much. We've been speaking with Mr. Funsho Okumefun, and a criminologist. We're trying to look at self-defense as an option in ending the menace in ZAMFARA, in BENUE, the banditry, the terrorism, the kidnapping. They will begin to. But I think the choice is yours. We'll still have a long way to go. I want to thank you very much, Mr. Okumefun, for being part of this. I'm sure maybe the security agencies are listening. Maybe they will take your theories. They will take, and let's see whether we will get somewhere in the final analysis.
Thank you so much. I pray, and I'm praying for unity of Nigeria, because they said when the bell tolls, it tolls for me, it tolls for you, it tolls for everyone. The death of a man diminishes me.
As well. All right, that's the first segment of the interview segment of New Dawn. We'll take on the next guest after this time out, and Moses will be here to fully take on that segment. We'll take a break now. We'll be right back.